Hey friends, wanted to share another video of tips. So this video is going to be focused on some of my secrets to making the best resume. I've got them, again, I keep going back and forth to my computer, so I'm going to be reading over here. All right, number one is think very, very deeply about the actual job that you're applying for. And you might actually be going after two jobs. Maybe you're thinking about software engineer and product manager. And when you're thinking about those two different roles, make sure that you have two different resumes for those roles. It becomes very obvious on the reading end when someone is applying for a role on your team, when really they're using the same resume for 5 different other organizations. So make it very, very tailored to that specific role. It'll stand out if it's not, I assure you. Number 2, once you figured out that role, let's say it's sales or marketing, business development, product management, whatever that is, go to Google, type into the search bar, best resume verbs for a sales resume or best resume verbs for product managers or something like that. You'll get a list of about 100 verbs. This is your go-to list. I hate reading resumes that start with words that say like was, helped. Try and find really hard-hitting verbs that are specific to what you changed, what you drove, what were the results that came of it. Words like created, built, launched, developed. You want to really pick words that stand out. And a piece of this verb, the verb tip, is to only use each verb a maximum of 2 times. You also don't want a resume that just says spearheaded, because that would look insane. All right, you've got some great verbs, you've got some great starting lines. Every single line should start with a verb. And then when you're looking at the whole resume, it should only be 1 page. I understand that everyone is ridiculously accomplished. Everyone has what seems to be 100 patents. I don't, but when you're writing your resume, make it 1 page. You can have an appendix, you can have additional publications, but your main resume should be 1 page. I think Obama's resume is a page, so yours can be a page. Don't get too cutesy with the layout. This is a tip that tends to anger some folks, but I think the 2-column approach is perfectly fine. I think that some color is fine, but I wouldn't go crazy with cartoon graphics. I wouldn't go crazy with a headshot. It's taking up precious real estate. And oftentimes when I'm looking at a resume, if a quarter of it is taken up with like a drawing that you've done, my immediate thought is, did they not have enough stuff to take up the entire page? Shouldn't they want to scream from the mountaintops with everything they've accomplished? So you have the real estate, you have the 1 page, use it in the way that works best for you. Lastly, everything should be quantitative. I want numbers, numbers, numbers. An example might be, launched 2 new product features. Technically, yes, the number 2 is a number. Here's what I would rather have that line say. Manage team of 17 to drive 2 new product features for 14 customers in 20% less time than previous 2 product features, right? Like that shows who worked on it, how big the scope was, how those features compare to other previous features, and therefore what results you were able to drive, and also a bit of the results, right? I said 14 customers. You might also have something like spearheaded new, initiative for supply chain optimization. I'm making all this up, but that on its own is just sort of a job description. It's flat, it has the good verb, but it's just a job description. It sounds like something anyone could write. I want to know why it's impressive that you did it, what you drove, a specific thing that you did, and why I should close my laptop, call you immediately and say, oh my God, you need to have this job. So instead of something like spearhead a new, something for supply chain optimization, I want to hear things like ran 80 plus hours of user interviews to find top 3 needs, shared executive report weekly, and delivered on 20% cost savings. That to me is how you got that done. So I like including some of that process. So those 80 plus user interviews describes how you got to that outcome, how you got to that insight. Saying things like prepared weekly executive briefing. It's also really nice to have that executive sponsorship and saying that you have executive rapport. Showing the breadth of a role that you worked on. So whether it's global, whether you had to deal with multiple teams, whether you had to deal with multiple customers or vendors, whether you had to deal with executives and leadership and C-suite, things like that really make a standard line become unstandard. And that's what you should be working on. Make your life unstandard. So those are a couple of my tips to stand out. Hope you like them. And as always, if you have tips, feel free to share them below, and I will continue to share more tips. Let me know what else you guys are interested in. Great chatting. Bye.